And if you have like tiny boobs, you get like the most beautiful, like here, crafted by our finest wood nymphs.
Okay, but
in
also
cobwebs.
so uncomfortable. Those bras are never comfortable.
But they're so pretty. And then it's like you're getting like bras for bigger boobs. And it's like, here is something like it's out of reconstituted like parachute material that we've taken from the U.S. Army. Like these over the shoulder boulder holder. Nothing's going anywhere. Nothing's moving.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just want to feel pretty.
2, 3, 4.
Have we started?
I don't know.
Welcome back. It's a day.
It's really hot.
Yeah, I saw a meme that said Californians who were just recently complaining about how cold it was now complaining about how hot it is. And I was like, well, we're spoiled because we get good weather like 75% of the time. So when it is the bad weather, we're really angry about it.
It's not normal.
But I also like the cold.
I like the cold too. I like when I'm prepared for the cold, if I'm properly outfitted for the cold, or like inside my house cozy while it's like cold outside.
But even then, I would still prefer to be cold than hot. I would still prefer to be shivering.
That's a good question. I'm trying to like decide whether I would prefer. I think I would prefer to be. I'm just like running into this. I think I would prefer to be cold too because I don't do well in the heat.
Yeah, the heat just makes me feel kind of like sick.
Yeah.
And also my argument is, and I know we were talking about like being unprepared, but my argument is you can put on as many layers in the cold as you want, but you can only get so naked in the heat. Like I live alone, so I could just be naked in my apartment, but I can strip down and
still be hot.
Still be like baking.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point. Yeah.
That's my point. That's my argument for solving global warming.
Everybody get naked?
Everybody get naked. Yeah. But we've also, I think the past couple summers, it hasn't really gotten hot until toward the end of June.
Yeah. We've had like later.
And then it stays hotter in November, like later into November even. But I feel like
it takes longer to get colder, but it stays colder longer.
Yeah. And so, but even then, I just feel like at the top of June, I was really enjoying the, overcast,
the June gloom,
the cool weather, and now it's officially summer, and I'm unhappy about it.
My favorite is when it's like cold, like gloomy in the morning, and then it starts to get sunnier in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's true. When it's gloomy all day long, I get like jet lagged.
Yeah,
because I don't know what time it is. I'll be like, oh, it's got to be like 11 a.m. and it's 4 p.m.
Yeah,
and I'm confused.
And I think it's like because I live near the beach, you get that nice marine layer in the morning.
I mean, we get that here though.
Yeah, but like it's like I think it's like thicker where I live, just because I'm like right next to the beach.
I mean, maybe. I think you get it more often, but most of the area, the Southern California area, gets that June gloom morning gray.
Mm-hmm. That nice marine layer that just burns off in the afternoon. You get some nice sun.
Yeah.
I like that. I like sweater weather, even though we don't usually get sweater weather in SoCal.
What is the definition of sweater weather? I guess I don't know. Is it just you'll be comfortable in a sweater, or is there like a temperature?
I'd say, and I haven't thought about this too much. I'd say like anywhere 60s and below, but not like freezing.
But to Californians, 60s and below is cold.
Yeah. So I think anywhere else would be 60s and below for sweater weather. For Californians, it's 70 and below.
Okay.
Where like all you need is a light jacket.
But yeah.
I don't know the specific, but like, when you get to pull out your nice sweaters.
I wear my sweaters in the summer and then regret it. I'm also not like a seasonal dresser. And I feel like in California, nobody really is.
No.
Like I whip out the thicker coats and sweaters in the winter because everybody, I just want to let you all know if you're not from California, it does get cold here.
It does.
Not like freezing, but at least in the winter at night, the lows can sometimes be in the high 30s.
Yeah.
Especially in, the Santa Monica Mountains and stuff where it's fucking windy as shit.
When I was in college, I went to San Luis Obispo, Central Coast, California, for those who don't know. So it's a little...
It's like 4 hours north from
4 hours north. Or like 3 hours here, 4 hours from Long Beach. But like it gets colder there, especially where I was because we were in the canyon. And like one morning when I was living in the student apartments, I had to get up for my like, I think it was like 7 a.m. class. It was ridiculous.
Ew, why'd you sign up for that?
Listen, signing up for classes was a war zone, and that was the only one I could get.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was going out of my apartment, and I walked out, and there's just like ice all over the ground.
Ooh.
And I had never seen that before.
Yeah, we're both Southern California born and raised.
So I was like, I came out and I was like, oh my God, what do we do? Where do we walk? Is it safe? Are we safe? Are we all gonna die? And there was like all these people walking like past me to get coffee or go to their classes. Nobody was concerned about the ice. It was just me. I'm like, where do I put my feet? How do I walk to my class without dying?
Well, what kind of shoes were you wearing?
I was wearing like boots, but I was still like freaking out because I was just like, is it safe? Like, will I slip?
Yeah. I love those videos. I love those videos of people in places like Missouri or something where there's like a really icy patch on the sidewalk and a security cam is catching it and everybody's just like surfing down.
Yeah.
Because it's got on a slight incline. Those always make me laugh because one person will start sliding and then everybody walking like there's no hope. Everybody just like goes down.
Or, you know, like black
Nobody's
ice.
getting hurt. I don't enjoy watching people get, well, sometimes I do.
I don't like black ice. Is that black ice a thing? It wasn't cold enough for any black ice to form, but I was just like having an existential crisis trying to walk to my class in the morning.
What's really annoying about, so my dad moved to Texas like 5 years ago or something, and Texas weather is just disgusting all the time. But
Texas is a pretty big place. Is it disgusting everywhere?
Probably. It's very classically often that cloudy, like 90-degree, like swampy
Muggy,
heat.
yeah.
But in the winter, it does get kind of cold in Texas, but it doesn't really snow except for that one, you know, tragic
Oh God.
2021 or whatever, where like everybody lost power. But it doesn't normally snow, but it will rain. But it gets cold enough that it just rains and then turns to ice, and it gets really dangerous to drive, which just adds to my hatred for Texas. Because also when I'm there too, so my dad thankfully will have the air on. And I'll be in his house and I'll be looking out the windows and it'll be cloudy and my brain will be like, so it's
cold.
Sweater weather. And then I'll walk outside and I'll be like, like this
you're
is
just
terrible.
swimming through the air.
It's just that like heavy, hot,
muggy
air that's just miserable. And that is one thing I need to remind myself to be grateful for, is that we don't really get humid heat here. We might get like a week of humid heat
and I
in
hate
like
it.
August.
I hate it every time.
But
I get irrationally angry.
But most of the time it's a dry heat, and I already sweat enough as it is when I'm cold. Does anybody else do that? My armpits sweat all the time. I mean, I know it is because I found Reddit threads to try to find help. but like I'll be just sitting, even in high school, like I would be in class, it would be a cold morning and I would be cold and my pits would be damp.
Would maybe that make you cold though? Because sometimes when you sweat, you get cold. I mean, that's the point of sweat. What's wrong with your body?
It's definitely broken, and I can't afford to see the right doctors about it. Because I saw this like really shitty physician last summer. This summer, I'm trying to find a new one, and it was that random, ironically, that random muggy like week here in like July or whatever. And
is that Russian lady?
Yeah, and it was really hot, and she had, to give some compassion, she had just moved offices, but like there was no AC in the waiting area. And I wear a lot of black because I like it, but also strategically because I do sweat a lot. And I mean, lately I have found some pretty good antiperspirants that are helping, but that's a conversation for another day. But this time, so I'll sweat a lot on my armpits and then like the under boob sweat when it gets really hot. And then if you're sitting too and your like boobs fold over, game over, right? So I put on.
I mean, if you got these girls,
you got titties. So I put on this like teal tank top with no bra because I just was going to the doctor or whatever. And then these kind of light sweatpants. And I'm sitting in the waiting room and I'm just like, I'm sweating because I didn't think that I would be, I assumed it would be air conditioned. I don't think that's a crazy thing to assume when you're going to the doctor.
Usually when you go to the doctor, it's like frigidly cold.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll be fine to wear this. But I'm sitting there and I'm waiting a long time. And these like patches of sweat are just like forming under my boobs. And like, it was terrible. And then this doctor, like, she was like, it was annoying. But I remember whenever they say, like, do you have any questions? And I was like, look, I sweat a lot. I sweat more than the average bear. I need help. And
more than the average bear.
and I was like, and I said, and I know like my dad has struggled with it, and I know my sister's struggled with it. And I was like, she's a doctor. She should have something. And she literally just looks at me and goes, oh. Yeah. And so like, and then she started talking about like a couple of things. And I was like, in my whole spiel to you about my problem with sweating, I told you I've fucking tried everything. I've cut out caffeine. I've like adjusted my diet. Like even I was talking to my dad about it. Cause like I said, my dad used to struggle with this a lot too.
So it's his fault.
And he did some research for me and like asked some like medical professionals he knows. And, we experimented with, it was like, it could be like, a hormone thing. So maybe like cut out soy because soy can increase like estrogen production. And I was like, nothing is helping. I know it's just overexcited sweat glands, and it's also directly tied to my anxiety and like stress factors.
Yeah.
Like even when just my emotions, like I don't even have to be feeling a negative emotion. If I'm excited, I'm sweating. Like it's just like a big emotion. I just start sweating. Like in acting class after a scene, I'm always like, I'm so sweaty just because like a lot's happening.
Yeah.
So it's just
Plus you get like that adrenaline when you're doing
and
a
it's
scene
just
too.
big emotions like that. And so I've done it all. I've Googled it.
She's Googled it. She Googled it, guys.
I've done so much Googling that I Googled it. But I even like my old doctor that I asked her about it, and she could only gave me a recommendation for a certain product called Sweat Block, and it's these little patches, and you like at night you like dab them on your armpit, let it dry, and then it's supposed to leave you good to go. But she was like, but don't use it all the time because some of the chemicals like aren't good for you. And I was like, then why are you recommending it to me? Like, and I have used it before a special occasion, like if I'm doing a play or something, I've used them then. But like, I was like, I need something for daily use.
Yeah.
Somebody help me.
You got like when we were doing a show.
Oh, like
you got
an
like that
undershirt.
Yeah. She got this special like moisture wicking undershirt.
Yeah, there's like, there's one, if there are any, I highly doubt there's too many dudes watching this, but there's a brand called Thompson Tees.
That guys don't want to listen to two girls talk about why young adult like girl books.
But there's a brand called Thompson Tees that's made for undershirts for, like button downs and stuff. And they make them for men and women, but I think it started for men because there are,
men are
sweating under their,
sweaty beings.
Yeah. And so that's kind of how I started looking into it. And then another brand, Knix, that makes a lot of like underwear and I think like period underwear and stuff like that. They also make some of those little undershirts, and they do work, but they also make you hot. So it's like, because you're wearing like a layer underneath, and it has like padding in the pits, and it like works, but you just feel warmer.
Yeah.
So,
but then that makes you sweat more.
Yeah. So it's just a vicious cycle. But this doctor, this Russian doctor. So we talk about this. She then mentions like one super extreme thing that I didn't even know was a thing, where it's like you can get a surgery to like cut some nerve or something. And she was like, but I don't recommend it. And I was like, this is affecting my quality of life, but not so much that I want to get surgery.
Go in there and like cut off the nerve endings in my pits.
Yeah. And then she also recommended like Botox, because you can get Botox in your armpits and stuff for sweating. And I was like, A, expensive. B, my armpits are the only place I'm sweating. C, it doesn't last. Like Botox wears away like everything, you know, like everything like that. So yeah, it would maybe give me like a good 4 months, but like then you have to spend another $800 or whatever. Yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever, fine. And then she said you should go see a dermatologist, and I was like, okay, like can you recommend one to me, because I can't see one without paying an arm and a leg if you don't recommend one to me, because my insurance sucks. So then I get up on the table to start the exam, and I'm like sitting there while she's doing something, and she turns and she goes, oh, you do sweat a lot. And I was like, bitch, did you think I was lying to you?
Well, you're a woman, so.
But she was a woman.
Yeah, but she's a better woman.
And
she's a doctor woman.
Also, this is the other thing that annoyed me. We went through this whole appointment, right? Like, and we even talked about like my lifestyle. Like, I'm a runner. I eat a plant-based diet. Like, I have a pretty balanced, healthy lifestyle. Like, and at the end of the session, she was like, yeah, well, like all that looks good. All that looks good. Weight needs to be better. And I was like, ma'am, the most confusing thing you could say to somebody is, you seem very healthy. All looks good. Lose some weight. because it's so
Maybe
stupid.
you wouldn't sweat so much if you lost some weight.
Honestly, I'm surprised people haven't said that to me yet.
But you don't even weigh. Like,
but
it's normal.
Thank you. But like, it's just that thing of, I mean, doctors are fat phobic. The BMI scale
Is racist against women.
Well, I believe, I don't remember. I saw something that briefly touched on how it's rooted in racism, but it's also only ever been calculated based on male bodies.
Yeah. So when I calculated they made us do it in health class, like in high school. I was overweight in high school, but it was also like my BMI was like ridiculously high because I have bigger boobies.
Well, you're also not like a tall person.
No, and I'm not a tall person. But I think I was just to prove to myself that it was like shit. I calculated my BMI like 4 or 5 years ago, and I had like, of course, I gained some weight during COVID, so I was a lot skinnier then. But my BMI was still like ridiculously high because of my
I think
boobs.
mine. Well, I think mine though. Also, I want to just put in being short though, because like my BMI, I'm 5'3". My BMI says I'm obese.
Yeah.
And it's just like I know I have a lot of body image issues, but I know I'm not that. And I think I don't remember what it actually is, but I think the actual like weight for my height on my body frame, I would look ill if I dropped to that amount of weight. Like, I am curvier, I've got an ass, I also have muscle, like, and that's the other thing too. Like,
it doesn't take into account muscle.
Yeah, that muscle's heavier than fat. And like one thing, I do follow Dr. Mike on YouTube. Shout out to lovely Dr. Mike. But he one time was saying like doctors who take BMI super seriously like shouldn't. He was like, it's more like a stepping stone for kind of figuring things out. And he said the example he used was if, you know, a 6 foot, like close to 300-pound guy is coming into my room, or I don't remember the exact weight, but like something that would trigger like overweight or obese on the BMI. And he was like, but he's like this shredded bodybuilder. I obviously know that that's not a correct thing. He was like, you just have to look at your patient. And I was like, but also the other thing too, though, is like looking at people also can't like define their health either, because
you can be skinny and still be unhealthy.
Also, there's a higher rate of diabetes and heart attacks in thin people. And I think partly because they don't get tested for it.
Yeah, because they don't think they need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I took I was pretty overweight in high school. I had a lot of issues. And some of it was like medication issues, like my body was trying to recover from, and bad eating
medication
really
fuck
fucked
up your
it up.
whole body.
But then I had an eating disorder in high school. Yeah, you can be overweight and have an eating disorder.
Yeah.
So my BMI.
You can also look quote unquote normal or healthy and have one as well.
Exactly. My BMI, this really fucked me up. I went home and I cried. I got morbidly obese on my BMI.
It goes up to morbidly?
I think so.
I thought the highest one was just obese.
I think it was like morbidly obese. It was enough that like I was like messed up for like the whole week. I was
for
so
sure.
upset.
Of course.
It could be that it was obese, and then in my like
I think
eating disorder brain, I was just like, oh my God, I'm morbidly like, you know, I could see that happening. It was a while ago.
Because I have I have a scale at home that I should probably throw away. But
I can't use scales either.
But it does show you kind of where on the BMI scale you are. But it's also one of those scales that supposedly like, you know, jury's still out on how accurate they are, but also can guesstimate like muscle mass and like bone mass and water weight and stuff like that, which I think is a slightly healthier way to do it, especially for women, because like before your period, you could be 10 pounds heavier than
that was also another thing when
you can weigh 5 pounds heavier in the evening than you did in the morning just because you like ate food and drank water that day. But the scale has that thing, and it only the highest one is obese.
Yeah, so I could totally see my brain just jumping to morbidly obese and being like, oh my God, I'm disgusting.
Yeah.
Because that's how my little high school brain.
That's how my brain worked too. If anybody
like,
made one tiny comment, I was like, I am a disgusting troll.
And of course, like I had people like constantly talking about how big my boobs were in high school, which was a lot of fun. Like I would be talking about something that didn't even have anything to do with that. And the people that I was supposedly friends with would just interrupt me and be like, your boobs are enormous, and then move on. And I'd be like,
the boob thing in high school, and I'm not excusing their behavior, but I think that's very common, especially for people with bigger boobs in high school, because, you know, as girls, like there can be a competitiveness for like, especially when you start getting bras, like who has the biggest bra size.
Yeah.
It can feel very competitive, and also it's still a newer thing. Even when you are 16, like we start getting boobs in middle school, boobs are still a newer thing.
Yeah.
So the person with big boobs very easily becomes a target just because boobs are new to everyone.
Yeah. I mean, like, but my boobs were like really big. Like they were so big that I had breast reduction surgery a couple years ago. Best decision ever. But yeah, it was just like, I wasn't comfortable in it. I didn't get boobs in middle school. Like I got them seemingly overnight in high school.
Oh, that might be also why too. Suddenly you just came to school and had fat Nachies.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I need a minute to recover from that.
Did I objectify you, or was it funny?
I'm fucking dying. And basically, that's what happened, though. Like,
it was like being pregnant one day. You just kind of pop. Like,
yeah, like literally, what I remember is that, and this could be wrong, but like what I remember is like woke up one day and I was like, "Whoa, where'd these come from?"
I feel like though that's pretty common because I don't remember like the interim between the boob size I have now and like not having boobs.
Yeah.
I just kind of remember starting to wear bras, but like not really needing to. Let's be real.
Oh, you're so lucky, you stupid bitch. No,
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I started to wear bras, you know, in 6th grade just because you were changing for PE.
Yeah, we had to do that too.
Yeah, so it just felt more comfortable. But
It was like those little training bras though.
yeah, and then I remember when I got my first padded bra and I was like so excited. And my friend was like, "Are you wearing a new bra? I didn't think she grew that much." But that friend also developed very young. Like she had boobs in like 4th and 5th
Oh,
grade.
poor little thing.
Yeah, and she would get like sexually harassed by boys, and like
Yeah.
they would snap her bra and stuff. Especially like in like 4th and 5th grade, like middle school, it's already hard enough. But everybody's developing.
Yeah.
When you're in elementary school, there's like
Yeah.
the small percentage of kids that are developing.
Yeah, so that like I got sexually harassed every day, but I was in high school, so
Yeah.
so much.
So it's
fun.
okay.
Yeah, so it's okay. No, it was terrible. You know how many guys I almost punched in the face because I wouldn't stop talking, or like there was this one guy I remember very like because I like literally just was like screaming at him. We were at a fucking party, and I was like. We were playing a game, and he's like, "I'm sorry, do you have to like present your boobs to me?" Like we were sitting at a table playing a game, and I was
Do you
like,
have to feel offended by my boobs taking up space?
I know, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm just sitting here. Like, what? I'm like wearing like everything's covered.
Yeah.
Like, fucking calm down.
I'm not presenting my boobs, I just
tits
have
are
boobs."
great. You're welcome." And then I remember getting up after I was like, "You need to calm down and relax." And then he was like, kind of came up behind me, and he was like, kind of making like a motorboating gesture. And I turned around, and my friend was like, "Yeah, he just did that." And I was like, and then I just literally started like screaming obscenities at him. And I was like, "You need to stop being so obsessed with my boobs. Like, what about my boobs? Like, why are you so, like, nobody's talking about them but you.
Yeah.
The only one who has a problem with them is you. Like, get over yourself, you fucking dickwad."
Yeah.
If he's listening to this, fuck you.
I would.
He's not going to.
It'd be cool if he was, but
He's probably not going to, but you know who you are.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't know.
But it was like I was getting
here.
like equally harassed by girls too, who were just like, "Oh my god, your boobs are so big. Are they real?" Yeah, I had a boob job at the age of 16 because that's allowed. Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me?
I wonder is there like a minimum age requirement for?
Well, there's
a
an
boob
age
job?
requirement for a breast reduction, so I would assume there's an age requirement because your breasts don't
Stop
technically
developing.
stop developing until after you turn 25.
Yeah.
So
that's when you know, quote unquote puberty ends. Like your
Yeah.
hormones. That's also like when your frontal cortex is supposed to finish
Yeah.
up. So yeah.
So like I know there's like people who've gotten boob jobs younger, but I think you have to be at least 18, you know.
I would hope so. I can understand from a scientific standpoint. I am a scientist. No, I'm not.
Robyn is a scientist.
That like I could understand though a breast reduction having a higher age limit because I feel like a boob job, you're not like messing with any tissue and taking anything out. You're just putting something in under the muscle.
Yeah.
So while I'm sure it wouldn't be like recommended and could probably fuck things up, I also feel like that would almost be potentially less destructive to your development than breast reduction when you're too young.
Yeah.
Because you're actually like scooping out like tissue.
Yeah. With an ice cream scooper.
Yeah, with an ice cream scooper. Fun fact though, I have a friend who got a boob job, and if you put a light up against it, the whole thing lights up because the like silicone sac or whatever it is like clear. So the whole thing lights up the same color like when you put your thumb directly on a flashlight.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember when the first time I saw her after she got a boob job, she mentioned that she heard that. And I was like, we have to figure this out. And we like ran into my room at my apartment, shut the lights off, pulled out our phone flashlights, put it up. And she was like, oh my God. And we were like, wait, we have to see, does it work on like my boob? And I was like, no, it's the boob job for sure. And I was like, that's a party trick.
See, Robyn is a scientist.
I am a scientist.
She conducted an experiment.
Yeah.
She had a hypothesis. She followed it through to the end.
Yeah. And then I also want to say too that if you, there's no boob job shaming here
No,
either.
absolutely
like if you want to
not.
get, like my friend who got one, like she was insecure about her boob size. That was like one of her biggest insecurities. And she really just felt really unhappy with her body, and she went about it in like the way that was like, you know, I don't want to get like crazy, like, you know, huge, like unnatural looking things. Like I want like the biggest that's comfortable for my body. And she looks fantastic.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're getting a boob job and you are getting like super big boobs, I have a hard time not judging people. Having had big boobs for most of my life,
I think it's a problem if you get more than one and keep getting them bigger, because that's indicating something unhealthy.
It's not fun. It hurts your back. And
but do boob job boobs affect your whole body the same way that like natural large?
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
But they're like, I don't know. I could see it maybe feeling slightly less cumbersome.
I think you're still like adding like.
You're still adding weight, but I feel like they're like, you know, maybe firmer.
It does
so it's
change
upright.
like how you stand.
Yeah.
It's hard just like, it's harder to have good, like my posture is fucking terrible. I'm working on it. But I literally, after my surgery, I had to learn how to, like, I had to relearn how to like stand.
To
like
be
a
fair,
person.
our entire generation also has terrible posture. So.
Yeah.
So you're not
But
alone.
my posture is just really bad. It's like it's bad. Like my back gets really tight. I had to wear like a back brace at work. Because if I was like working, I wasn't really paying attention to my posture. So I'd go home at the end of the day and just be like,
oh yeah, I have moments where I'll be working at my computer and I'll be like in the zone and I'll like be in the flow, kind of disconnected, and then I'll like come to like down here.
yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, and I sit up just like shocked. I have been strength training a lot lately, so I do feel like my posture is getting better because I've been working on my back muscles. And also for women, a personal trainer I had briefly told me this, that women often really struggle, which is why I've been really mindful of this, and this might be helpful for you too, is like when we're working upper body, because women hold so much tension in our traps, that's what we tend to use when we're working our upper body. So one thing that she would always be working on with me when we were doing anything like this or like this, she would have to put her hands on my back and be like, basically use the right muscles, bitch, because women are constantly using our traps.
Yeah.
But those are the muscles that give you good posture. So like that's something, ladies, keep in mind when you're working out at the gym. Just really focus on that like mind-body connection, because I still find myself doing it. I'll be at the gym and I'll be like, I'm using my traps. No, I need to use my back.
It's just
Lessons from a scientist and a fitness instructor. I am neither of those things. How did we get there? We were talking about sweating.
Yeah, we were. And then we got onto boobs.
Oh, we were talking about being told.
The BMI, yes.
Yes, BMI, and being told to like, oh, like maybe you'll sweat less if you weigh less. Yes, I was actually going to say another thing too, because we did start talking about weight. One of my really good friends, she thinks maybe it came from like slipping and hitting her tailbone in a weird way or something, but she had, and I forget exactly what it was. It was like a slip disc pinched nerve thing in her back where she had like really aggressive sciatica pain for like a year, like to the point where she was limping, and she's a waiter. She waits tables. Like she would go to the
sciatica pain it's so painful.
Yeah, it's excruciating. Like she would tell me, like, if somebody told me that this pain was never gonna go away, like, trigger warning, I don't know if I want to live with that.
Yeah.
Like that's how bad that pain was. But she is shorter. She's shorter than me. She's 4'11", and she's a curvy girl, and she holds a bit of her weight in her midsection as well. But her blood tests are normal. she's active enough. Her job is pretty active.
Yeah.
And like she said, like, it's not like my doctors are like, hey, you're pre-diabetic, hey, your cholesterol's high. She's like, everything's normal. I just have extra weight on me. And she would go to the doctor about her back and they would all be like, you need to lose weight and your back will feel better. And like, in some regard, like, could that be true? Like, would taking some of maybe the pressure off help her? Like, yeah. But she was like, I'm in so much pain though. I can't exercise. I can't strength train. And I'm so miserable because I'm in so much pain. I am leaning on food right now because I'm upset and I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So of course I'm just gonna like eat a few donuts when laying on my bed because I'm fucking miserable.
Girl, same.
And like she went through this for so long, and like the only pain meds that really helped were like the controlled substance ones that doctors are really reluctant to give out. So it was that struggle of her being like, either somebody needs to really look at my fucking back and stop telling me to lose weight, or just give me these pain meds because I'm not addicted to them. I genuinely can't move without them.
Yeah.
And it was this fucking battle forever of, you know, going in, being told that she just needs to lose weight. And then finally a doctor was like, okay, let's give you like an MRI. And she ended up having surgery for her back. And that doctor said, this is one of the worst cases of this I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
And like, and if she wasn't like heavier for her height, they probably would have,
and it would have been
given her that MRI pretty fucking quickly.
And it wouldn't have been that bad. Because they would have caught it earlier. It was probably bad, but like because it took them so long to finally figure out what was like, it got worse. That's ridiculous.
And that story pisses me off so much because I think everyone, and obviously like I've never been overweight to a degree where I'm getting aggressively shamed by doctors. Obviously I said that doctor said that to me, but like
that was like a microaggression.
Yeah, that's like the most, you know, I'm not like experiencing, you know, the you know, societal behaviors that overweight people experience. So I'm not gonna touch on that at all, but like
fat phobia does run rampant throughout our society.
And like men, overweight men and women do experience a lot of that at the doctor, but I think women in particular, and then what I feel like women often do experience a lot is things being chalked up to like your anxiety and all that stuff. And I've heard nurses on TikTok say, if you're going to the emergency room for something, do not say you have anxiety because they will pretty much just tell you that's what it is. She like, refrain from saying you struggle with your mental health at all because they will just say that's what it is. And even if that turns out to be what it is, you still want the workup. Yeah. And I was like, that's so shitty that I can go to a hospital for chest pain and they'll just be like, are you feeling a little anxious today?
Having a hard time, bud?
Like, I don't know. Like, and I understand that everyone who goes to the doctor feeling something, you can't treat everything like, you know, a full-fledged worst-case scenario emergency. But I think there has to be a middle ground between doing that and then just, like, dismissing people's feelings. Yeah. Because there was also a story of a woman not that long ago. She was having really bad stomach pain, and she went to the doctor because she was like, I'm having a hard time eating because my stomach hurts. And she was a heavier woman, and the doctor said, well, that's probably not a bad thing. She finally got a doctor to listen to her. This woman had stomach cancer.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry. Even if you're overweight, you still need to eat.
Yes.
So if your stomach is hurting so much that you can't eat, that's a fucking problem.
It's also so shitty, too, because, like,
to lose
unexplained weight loss, or even that you could explain by not having an appetite, but you can't explain not having an appetite. Like, that is a major red flag to doctors.
That's indicative of like a lot of things.
Yeah, and that's something that doctors are supposed to take very seriously.
Yeah.
But
and also
it doesn't matter if somebody's 180 pounds and is suddenly 130 or 300 pounds and 250. Like you take that shit seriously if they're like, I haven't really changed much about my life.
Yeah, I haven't been. But like also like there's a right way to lose weight, like a healthy, like I'm sorry, I'm not trying to do right and wrong, but like there's a healthier way to lose weight and then there's an unhealthy way to lose weight. And if you're not eating anything at all because you can't and your stomach is hurting and that's how you're losing weight, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's bad.
But so many doctors just see fat person, unhealthy, must fix this problem. Like I've seen a lot of people go online and share a video about going to the doctor for an issue completely unrelated to the size of their body, and their weight comes up. And it's just like, first of all, what I love a lot of these people are saying is don't talk to me like I am not aware that I'm fat.
Yeah, it's not a surprise.
Yeah, I don't not know that this
No one is like
what I
so
look like.
oblivious that they won't know.
Yeah.
That.
And it's just crazy how somebody could go in for like pink eye, and then the doctor's like,
Instead of giving
your
you,
weight.
yeah, instead of
Not
giving
even
you
not
eye
giving you
drops,
like antibiotics, but just like also like, you know, work on your weight. I mean, that's a little bit. That's like, and I experienced a fraction of that at my doctor when it's just like all she was looking at was the number and not like my body and how I look. Like I was just like sitting there like,
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am, you just told me I'm healthy. And that's happened to me a handful of times over the years. Like my doctors will be like, I remember my old doctor, I went in and, we talked and I was like, I'm a runner. Like I eat plant-based, blah, blah, blah. I don't smoke. And she's like, you might be the healthiest person I see all day, like joking with me like that, because I think she dealt with a lot of like maybe older people who spent years smoking. And like, I remember when she checked my lungs, she was like, it's so nice to hear clean lungs. And I was like, that's a bummer, lady. But then like always like around the appointment, it's like, I recommend like, dropping like maybe 10 to 15 pounds. And it's just like,
you drop 10 to 15 pounds.
but then it's just like, but I need you to tell me why. I need you to look at my blood tests.
Yeah.
And tell me why.
If you're just looking at the number.
Yeah. The number doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
You have to take the number with everything. You can be like 100 pounds and be unhealthy because you're smoking and you're doing all this stuff. Like,
Well, that's why so many, and I hate this phrasing, but like the term like skinny fat is a thing.
yeah.
But it just means that somebody who is thin has a fairly high body fat percentage, even if you can't tell. And then that's like weighing on their body because they're, not eating a well-balanced diet, not drinking enough water, smoking, vaping these days. I don't know, not exercising, not moving their body. I think actually Ashley Tisdale talked about this forever ago because she was raised in like a naturally very thin, high metabolism family. And she said nobody ever really needed to exercise. Nobody ever really needed to watch what they eat. Quote unquote, nobody needed to because that like, equating thinness to health. But she reached a point where she actually like was like, you're on the road to being pre-diabetic if you don't do, and she was thin. And then she started working out and eating healthier. And she like, she changed her physique because of that. But it's just like she objectively from the lens that people tend to believe she didn't need to, but she needed to.
Yeah.
Like she.
Yeah, that's what, like, you just can't tell somebody's health, like healthy or unhealthy, just based on looking at them.
Yeah.
You just really can't.
Makes me so mad. Yeah. There's also this.
That's kind of, I was lucky with my surgeon for my surgery. I was worried because it was around, I think it was like 2021 when I got my surgery. And I
remember you telling me they booked it for a certain time because that's when
everything
non-emergency surgeries were opening back
so
up.
I think it was like, I know it was like June 2021, but I had started meeting with him in September or October of 2020. But I was worried because
objectively kind of an odd time to be like, let's go get surgery in a hospital.
well, I wasn't like, I want to get surgery tomorrow. I was like, I want to start the process of talking to him because I don't know when the hospitals are going to open up, but I want to start on that. But it was also not a weird time to talk about it because like I was starting to gain weight because of COVID and like lockdown and everything. But like my breasts were growing at like an alarming rate, and I would like get a new size, like resize myself, get a new like bra. One, because they're fucking expensive.
Bras are so annoyingly expensive. I just brought like I bought a pack of like bralettes online the other day that shouldn't have been more than $20 and the thing was like $45.
Yeah, and if you have like tiny boobs, you get like the most beautiful, like here, crafted by our finest wood nymphs.
Okay, but
in
also
cobwebs.
so uncomfortable. Those bras are never comfortable.
But they're so pretty. And then it's like you're getting like bras for bigger boobs, and it's like here is something like it's out of reconstituted like parachute material that we've taken from the U.S. Army. Like these over the shoulder boulder holder, nothing's going anywhere, nothing's moving. Yeah. And it's like, I just want to feel pretty.
Yeah.
But anyway, like they kept growing and I would get a new bra and immediately grow out of it like a month later and I couldn't wear anything. I was uncomfortable. I had to wear sports bras, and my sports bras at the time were underwire, so it wasn't even comfortable.
Underwire
Just
is so
to like,
unhealthy.
if I was going out, like that was the only thing that fit me. I was uncomfortable wearing it. I was uncomfortable not wearing it. It was awful. Like I just felt so uncomfortable in my body. I never really felt that uncomfortable, even when I was overweight in high school. Like. So I was just like, no, it's time. I need to do something about this. I need to start talking because this is not getting better. It's worse. And like even every other time when I lost weight, end of high school, like beginning of college, like I was like, great, my boobs are going to get smaller. They got bigger. And it's like every other time where I kind of had started to like work out a little more and started to get in shape, they got bigger. And I was like, this isn't normal. But I was worried because it was like just after lockdown had ended, like I was a little like I had gained a little bit of weight, and I was like worried that he was going to immediately be like, well, have you tried losing weight? And I'm like, I've tried losing weight for the past 10 years and nothing's worked. Yeah. But he never was. And like there's like a checklist you go through to make sure like if your insurance will cover it.
Yeah.
And I like checked every box on that list.
A doctor in that space too, I'm not saying that the bad ones don't exist, but a doctor like that is probably also just much more well-versed in dealing with women's bodies of all sizes who need something like that, you know? Like he probably experiences women of generally larger frames with large boobs with that. And, you know, so I could see a doctor like that being, I'm not saying your fear wasn't valid, but I can see a doctor like that being way less likely to be judgmental than you just talking to your primary care physician about it.
Well, my primary care physician was like the one who gave me the referral.
Yeah, but I'm saying a primary care physician is going to know less about it. So there's a good chance that if you did mention it to them, they would be like, well, have you tried losing weight? Versus a doctor who actually does this that understands it more. Yeah. Because your boobs don't. Yeah, they always tell women if they're on a weight loss journey, like, you know, be prepared for your boob size to possibly change, but they're not going to automatically change size. Yeah. Like I have not fluctuated all that much in my weight, but when I have lost weight at times in my life, my boobs roughly stayed the same. Granted, they're not like particularly huge or particularly small, but like, you know, they didn't change, and some people experience them changing aggressively and some people don't. And it's just bodies are different. Yeah.
But I was like fully prepared for him to go in and be like, okay, I'll go on this weight loss journey and you'll see. You know, that's what I was prepared to tell him. And he was like, no, let's get you in the books. And I was like, thank you, God.
Yeah. Well, I also think if, you know, you were so uncomfortable, your back did hurt, nothing was working. Like, I think if you just kind of walked in there and were coming from maybe more of a purely cosmetic angle, I could then maybe see him being like, okay, well, maybe we should look into diet and exercise. Yeah. Like, but if you're coming in with ailments, genuine ailments, but if you were just going in being like, my boobs are big and I just don't like it, I could see a doctor being like, okay, let's talk about this before I put you under. Yeah. Like, because there's no reason to put you under if there's a way for us to get to a happy place without it, you know? And I think, I do think, to give doctors some credit, I do think when doctors present that type of advice, I think that's what they think they're doing. Being like, well, before we do something drastic, because I'm all for also like trying to fix things in these other alternative ways. I think, you know, I definitely believe in Western medicine, but I think if you can heal things with, you know, turmeric and cayenne pepper and like that type of stuff and vitamins, all that stuff.
Put some cayenne pepper on my boobs.
Yeah. I think that's totally feasible and it works. And then when that's not working, then you go get like antibiotics or, you know, antivirals or whatever you need. But I think doctors are so caught up in this space of like doing that it is just very dismissive, and they also sometimes get kind of tunnel vision and don't really listen to what a patient is saying and being like, I've tried everything. Like if I go to a dermatologist, which I'm trying to do for my sweating problem, like if I go in there and they just say like, well, like maybe let's try a diet, maybe let's try whatever, losing weight, whatever. But like at all sizes of my body, like I've sweat a lot since I was a teenager. Yeah. Like it's not a new thing for me. And like when I, you know, was thinner when I was a teenager, naturally, because you're a child. But like, I know it's not my weight. It's something is misfiring in my body that makes me sweat a lot. And so if I could totally see a doctor being like, well, have you tried losing weight? Well, have you tried your diet? Well, have you tried this? Well, you know, when you drink caffeine, and it's just like, bro, I know, but when I cut out caffeine, I just become a bitch and I'm sweaty. I just become I'm a sweaty bitch.
Sweaty bitch.
I'm just a sweaty bitch. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, I only buy black workout leggings because I'll get that I peed my pants look at the gym if I'm like working out really, really hard. And at the gym, I don't really care that much because it's like people
will know like that person didn't just pee her pants.
Yeah, I didn't just piss myself. But like, it's just that thing of like, I just sweat a lot. Like, and I've literally looked up Reddit threads of like people in hyperhidrosis forums and stuff. And there are medications for other things that doctors have figured out off-label can help you sweat less. And I've like considered looking into that just to be like, I think this is an inside-out issue. My sister did get a procedure done called Miradry, I believe, and I forget.
I love that it's called Miradry.
Why?
Because it's a miracle that you're dry.
Oh, maybe. It does something where like it like zaps and deadens some of the sweat glands in your armpits.
Okay.
Insurance doesn't cover it though.
Want to get a laser and I can just show me your pit and I'll just
But that's the thing. It's
zap that thing with a laser.
Just my pits. It's the under boob and then like my low back.
Show me your under boob. I'll zap those too.
And then sometimes if it's extra hot and I'm sweating like where my thighs like crease like here, it's just like I just need to be put into a machine to zap me. But my sister got that done. She did say it made her life feel so much better. She said it was kind of painful because you like bruise and swell after.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's that thing of like
cost benefit.
And I just want like my whole body to stop sweating so much. Like, and I know a handful of people that don't sweat at all. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And granted, they did say they are very likely to overheat in hot weather.
I think that's why I get so overheated. I sweat, but I don't sweat that much. And when I was in high school, I didn't really sweat at all. And I was in cross country. I'd be running like 8 miles a day on like a super hot day and I wouldn't really sweat. I don't know if it was like because I didn't really drink water when I was a kid and I was like still severely dehydrated.
That could also be a part of it.
I drank water once I started doing cross country because you have to or you die.
Yeah.
But if
maybe
it was like
if that's the only time you're drinking it though, you could still be dehydrated.
Yeah, and I drink so much more water now than I used to, and I sweat, but I really don't sweat that much. And I do have a tendency to overheat a lot.
Yeah, that could be it because like I said, I know a handful of people who are like, yeah, I barely sweat, but then I like turn bright red and and it's just awful and so
like my feet get starting from my feet they just get really red and
so on like the other end of the spectrum isn't that great either, but I'm just like there has to be a happy middle where I'm not just like drenched and I can actually wear color. Because a lot of people are like, wear some color.
Would you wear color if you stopped sweating so much? Because you really like black also.
I do really like black. I think I would venture out a little bit. Like I think I'm definitely still like in autumn.
Yeah. What colors would you wear?
I mean I like, purples. I like
so almost black.
Well, I also like kind of jewel tones.
Yeah.
Jewel tones and like earthy tones. So I think that would still be my vibe. I think I would just like I wear some color and lighter things just around my apartment because like who gives a shit?
Yeah. Grizzly Bear doesn't care.
No. But like but I can't really go somewhere. So I think I would wear that or just jewel tones, maybe some.
Have you gotten your colors done like Molly?
I haven't. I don't know how much that costs, but I have a pretty good guesstimate on
I do too.
What my color palette is.
What's your color palette?
Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm in autumn.
Yeah.
Or like maybe a dark winter or something. But I have like olive undertones to my skin. So I think I'm probably more of, in autumn. Like, because I do get, when I do wear some stuff with greens in it and some more of those lighter earthy tones, I get like told, oh, that looks so nice on you. So I think that's it. But
I'm pretty sure that I'm a dark winter.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I just want like the option to wear color.
No, that's
because also the other thing too that I hate is in the summer if I do wear a dress and I'm sitting on like a nylon booth at like a restaurant or a bar.
Oh my God.
That thing's becoming a slip and slide under my thighs. It gets so sweaty under there.
I'm just picturing you just like all of a sudden we're just talking, you're drinking, and then all of a sudden you just slide under the table.
Just shoot out in the middle of the restaurant. Like it's just so uncomfortable for me, especially, and I know everybody like sweats
those
more.
vinyl boots are just uncomfortable, period. But they must be so much more uncomfortable if you're just like
Well, then I'm just like aware of it, and then I'm like, oh,
slippery as an eel.
and then I'm just like, well, if I have to like get up and slide out and somebody else has to slide out, they're gonna feel it. Like, I've also become a master of like when I do sit on somewhere and like the between the legs thing gets a little wet because you're hot. I promise it's not from horniness. It's just existing as a sweaty bitch. I've mastered the art of like the slide stand.
Oh yeah, to kind of just like dry it off.
Especially those seats when you're in college. Like I went to Cal State Long Beach. That's like a huge campus. And it's also kind of from one end to like the arts end, which is where I was. It's like a slight incline.
Yeah.
So, and it like really, really big campus. So when you're walking to class, you're like, everybody's like huffing and puffing a little bit.
Yeah.
And so you sit on those seats. And I've talked about this with my sister and my cousin who both went to Cal State Long Beach. And we were like, yeah, you kind of mastered the art of like sliding when you get up off those plasticky seats because you just leave like a sweaty mark because you're sitting there. And I don't want to do it anymore. I just don't want to do it anymore. So if anybody has any recommendations. Oh wait, also
what about some cayenne pepper?
That would make me sweat more, dude. Are you kidding? But here's something that's sweet and also just like made me laugh. So, Molly, if you happen to see this was a very sweet and thoughtful gift. It was just one of those things where I was like, damn, I am a sweaty bitch. And thankfully, I'm clearly not like, I'm only insecure about it in like action of it if I'm in a certain social setting. If I was like sweating through my t-shirt just hanging out with you, I wouldn't care. And like I'm fine talking about it.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel insecure when I'm like in acting class or like out at a bar, whatever.
Yeah.
But
you're just doing a love scene and you just have like sweat on your
just a sweat mustache.
Kiss me.
But I remember talking about this with my friend Molly a little bit, and she is one of those people who also just like doesn't sweat. Rude, whatever.
I'm sorry.
And she none at all.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Literally. And so for my birthday, her boyfriend came to my birthday. She was out of town.
Yes, okay.
And she gifted me this whole thing of that brand Carpe. They make like the sweat lotions and stuff. And I think they first just made either a lotion or a deodorant or something. And then they started making more products. And I've tried one of their lotions. I can't totally figure out if it worked or not. Maybe I'm just putting it on. Like, I think you need to put this stuff on at night so it has time to really work because you're less likely to sweat. But she got me this whole thing of it. And I remember opening it and being excited because I was like, oh, I get to try this stuff and now I don't have to like pay for it because it's like pricier. But then I was like, do I talk about sweating a lot too much? I was like, am I just that sweaty of a bitch?
But I'm trying to think like when I learned that you were a sweaty bitch.
I probably screamed it.
Well, yeah, because we were doing a show, like a summer show at the time when we met.
Was I screaming about it during South Pacific?
I'm trying to think if that's when I learned it.
Was that a
or
summer
was
show?
it- Yeah, it was like May.
Okay.
So not technically,
I
but
probably
almost.
mentioned it because that's when I first mentioned the undershirt thing because we had to wear those like kind of khaki
Yeah, I think it
outfits
was
at one
like
point,
when
and I was
talking
like,
about costumes.
yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna sweat through this khaki thing if I don't wear an undershirt.
Yeah. And you were like, I think it was like I also like when we had to wear our bathing suit, the bathing suit scene, or like with Skimby because we were running on the beach, and some people were wearing bathing suit. I wasn't.
I wasn't. That's less.
It was
clothing.
like but then you were like you wanted to have like a little.
Well, that was because I was insecure about the size of my body and what it looked like.
I'm trying to remember when you. I think it was the khaki. I'm trying to remember.
It was the khaki, like army outfit.
Yeah.
Whatever you call that. I forget what the fuck
army uniform.
I forget what the fuck we wore in the majority of the show because that was just at the end, right?
We
were in the bathing suits when we were first on.
Yeah. And then we were Island Girl. Well, they tried to make me an Island Girl.
Problematic. It's fine.
I mean, like, I know I'm half white, but I'm like pretty white passing. And I'm like,
I mentioned the other day, I think, to Jared that you're half Mexican, and he went, never would have guessed.
Yeah, like because like I take after my mom, who takes after like the Spanish side of the family.
Yeah. Not to discredit your ethnicity, but
it's just like Mexicans come in all colors.
Yeah, it's also like when there are like, you know, people who are half black who have very light skin and they're very white passing.
Yeah.
Like,
so like, and then it was like, this was a show that was done in Orange County. So like they did, I also don't think they tried very hard to get people of color into this cast. No. But when they were talking about trying to get me in as an island girl, I was like, that's not going to fly, man. Yeah. Like, and they were like, okay, you can just be the friend of the island girls. And I was like, okay.
I also think Next Step probably would have been asking me just because I have brown hair.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm all white, obviously, but like,
yeah. It was, oh my God, that show. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like the dresses when we came out singing Bali High.
Oh yeah, what the fuck were those dresses?
We all wore different ones.
I have no memory of that dress.
Traumatized. I know. I was trying to cover up my tattoo.
Yeah, I remember that. I just don't remember what the outfit
I got makeup all over that dress.
But I do think it was just that khaki.
And then it was
shirt.
like the tap dancing,
oh yeah,
Honey Bun. Oh, the worst song ever. So we were wearing like our little like
musical.
I don't either. I liked it because I met you and I met some like other wonderful people in the show. But I don't like the actual musical.
I liked the experience of being with the people. I didn't like the show itself.
But we also never did a table read for that show. And I remember like the last
during Tech Week is when we basically figured out what the fucking show was. Yeah, I remember turning to somebody and I was like, this character dies?
No, but I think that was me because there was a moment where we had one of the nurses missing like for the last weekend. So I took her spot and I walked in with you like for this one scene and I was like, I didn't even know this scene existed. And then as we were coming off, that's when we heard one of the other characters died and we were like, wait, that's when he dies?
I didn't know he died at all.
He just disappeared though.
I was just like, he's just done going on stage. I didn't put it.
He's just gone.
I didn't put it. I knew he got malaria, right?
I'm pretty sure he got shot.
No, because he had malaria at one point in the show.
Oh my God, did he?
See,
this is we don't know.
And here's the thing too, like the plays that I've done and the musicals I've done, I've learned those stories fucking inside and out. And even no matter what size my role was, you're just absorbing the whole thing so much. And this show, we can't even keep our facts straight.
Disconnected. So like a table read is where everybody meet. Like I don't know, it's pretty self-explanatory, but everybody meets before we start rehearsals and we just read through the entire show.
It's standard for any play or musical, and I mean in production, TV more so they skip that, but they'll also do a table read when you start shooting a feature or a short film, and ideally you do a table read for the next episode of the TV series you're on like the week before. Just like, get everybody in the room, all the actors, everybody there.
Yeah, so everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, and you're just on the same page, which I also love too when like there are, series regulars on a show who don't really read the scripts and they're sitting in the table read. I've heard stories of actors being like, oh yeah, so-and-so would always be sitting at the table read just being like, what? This happens? And it's because she's just reading her own shit.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's why you do it. So everybody knows what's going on.
We never did a table read for South Pacific. And I don't even know. One, it's been so long, I can't even remember what the fuck happens in that show. I know I tap danced next to a guy wearing a coconut bra. Great moment.
Right. I busted out my color guard skills and spun my rifle.
I was tap dancing, like she's doing her color guard and we were like doing a little tap dance behind her. I'm not a good tap dancer. They were desperate. They were really hard up for dancers. And I think they asked me, they're like, do you know how to dance? And I was like, I tap danced when I was 3. And they were like, great, you're in. And I was like, what?
Yeah. The rifle spinning that I did was shockingly a crowd pleaser.
Everybody loved it.
And I remember everyone in the cast too would like hang out on the
we like to watch
in the wing. Some people would say to see if I dropped it, and I was like, wait, have faith in me.
I know,
but I didn't drop it one show. I remember the last show. I talked to somebody. They were like, you haven't dropped it, and I was like, yeah, dude, I know. Don't jinx me. And I remember the last show being like, if I drop it tonight, I'm gonna hate myself so much because I made it so far. But thankfully, I didn't. No. I got wobbly in one show. I think I covered it up. But
I definitely got wobbly. I totally missed a step at one part during my tap dance. I'm what you call a mover. And that's where I can do simple dance moves if I have enough time to learn them and I can make them look kind of okay. But you want to put me in the back.
You're an angular dancer.
Yeah. You want me, like, you want me to fill out the numbers, but you don't want people to, like, look at me.
And I don't mean angular in a bad way. Like, that is, like, a necessary form of dancing.
Yeah.
You're just not gonna be, like, the lyrical person over there.
Like, I think...
You're, like, you can memorize the choreography, you can hit the moves.
But I'm never going to feel, like, super 100% comfortable doing it.
Because you're also, like me, like, neither of us have had extensive dance training.
Yeah.
Like, I did some dance as a kid. I also tap dance. I took tap dance when I was in second grade.
Yeah.
And I did a little bit of jazz and ballet. And then I got a lot of dance training when I did color guard, but that was also slightly stiffer dancing because you're dancing to catch equipment, which those coaches would always be mad at us when we were stiff dancers. And I was like, you need to pick a side. Do you want me to catch the saber or do you want me to look pretty?
And I was like, I did ballet and I did tap dance and I did jazz when I was like really little when you're trying to like get your kids to do stuff. And then I switched over to soccer, did soccer for a really long time, horseback riding, cross country, like that's it. Yoga. And I did like, that's not really like dancing.
I don't know if yoga counts.
But like that's another thing I'd like to do a lot. But like I did ballet for a couple of years when I like right before I started acting because I was trying to help my posture. So like I think I can make my arms look nice.
Oh, you can do like
and I can do like the thing, but don't look at my feet.
I wanted to take like a dance class because I especially in my acting class that I've been taking, I just have a lot of hang-ups about moving my body. I get really uncomfortable to move my body in a big way and just let myself be free and move my body.
Yeah.
Like I've even tried to experiment and be like, I want to try to move my body. Okay, I'm going to try like even just like dancing alone in my apartment, and I can't even do that. I just feel so, and I've talked to some friends about it, and they're like, there's like a lot of healing and like movement, and like the body stores trauma, so I probably have traumas like just trapped, like, and my body's just trying to keep them safe, you know? But I've thought about like doing, maybe like a pole like class, like just to like help me figure it out, or like a one-on-one or something, or finding like a really comfortable like adult dance environment because I just like I want to like figure it out. Like even in my acting class last week, we did an exercise where we had to just walk around the room and then my teacher would shout out something to like embody, and I already know I was like, I'm gonna hate this because I just have such a hard time with that.
You're just like, I can embody an uncomfortable person.
I can make some like light guesses, but I haven't been able to like really unpack why that's such a hard time for me specifically with my experiences. I haven't been able to connect those dots, and I have like, some ideas, but like,
I haven't even started to
figure it out. But she had us like, the first thing was like, you're an alien trying to communicate with the other people. And I was like, oh God. And it's also one of those things too, where I was watching.
I don't know if I'd be able to do that either.
It's hard, like objectively. But I remember like watching the other people in my class and like people having so much fun and like laughing. And I'm just like, it's fun. And the whole thing is like, don't worry about looking stupid. And I think a fear of looking stupid is definitely a part of it. But like I said, I think there's more that I really have to unpack. But then like, I think the second one was being an old person, which was easier, but I still felt kind of timid.
Yeah.
And then I finally like came into my own when she said, you're a kindergartner on the first day of school. And I just stopped and I just went, because I already just kind of wanted to cry because I was so uncomfortable. And then some other kids in the class were like, I'll be your friend. And then we got to be kids and it was fun and I kind of found my way into it. But I have a lot of trouble like doing, or like we'll do an exercise where it's like you kind of pass like the energy, and so it'll be like passing it, and you have to like move it through your body, and so you kind of like do that.
That one I can do,
but I've gotten more comfortable with that, but I still like have a hard time with it. I just have this like hang up about moving my body in a certain way that I've had it for like as long as I can remember. I remember even talking to both of my sisters one time when we were like talking about like, dancing and stuff. And I couldn't like,
I need to get really drunk to be able to do that. Unless I know, like I was over at my friend Olivia's. Hi, Olivia. I was over at her house yesterday and she was just playing ABBA while we were making dinner. And then I was just like, I got like really hyper and I just started like, and then I came up, but I was like, she's like my sister. I'm like super comfortable. If it's anybody else, like I just get really like...
Yeah, when in a one-on-one situation, just being goofy, I can get totally weird. Like there was one time when I think it was for my sisters and my sister's now husband, fiance at the time, we all flew out to Texas because that's like in the middle of where we are to go wedding dress shopping with my sister before her wedding. And then they also threw an engagement party for her and her, fiance at the time. And we all had dinner and we all started like putting on like kind of classic songs from like our teen years. And then we all started like rocking out and like dancing and just going crazy. And it was just like funny because like, my dad was like laughing at all of us just like going nuts. And the kid, we were like cleaning up dinner and like rocking out to like Blink-182 and like also a hilarious moment. I was rocking out at one point and my dad's dog Teddy, who's like, he's not a Labradoodle. He's like the other one, but he's
Golden
like,
Doodle.
No, it's like the breed that gets mixed anyway, but he's
Doodle
that
Bop.
size. And he, dogs that size like to stick their nose in your crotch, especially if you're a woman. And I was rocking out to the song and Teddy comes up and sticks his nose right into like my butt, and I immediately did one of these like, oh! I was in the middle of my dad almost fell out of his chair laughing so hard witnessing that. So like I can like get into that space, but yeah, I need to unpack that. I want to be able to also just like dance freely and move my body freely, and I just lock up. So if anybody knows why, without knowing any of my trauma or experiences, if anybody has any guesses as to why this is, it probably links back to like some memory I don't even really remember when I was 5 and somebody just made me feel bad for doing it and that was the messaging I got. It's probably something as simple as that, but I just haven't been able to.
I remember there was like, I was on an audition last year. It was like for Putnam County Spelling Bee. That's like a music hall. And it was like a dance call because I got a call back. I fucking hate dance calls.
I don't like them
I'm a singer. I am not a dancer. And I can do the choreography. I just need like 3 weeks to learn it, and then I can do it. Give me 3 weeks before the callback. But the song that they were doing was such a fast song, and the choreography. So my brain was panicking. Literally had a full-on panic attack. Was about to be like, went to the corner. I was going to take my shoes off, and I was like, okay, guys, you've made a mistake. I'm not supposed to be here. I have to go. I'm going to go cry in my car. It's going to be great. Catch you guys never.
Yeah, if you struggle to pick up on choreography, dance calls are just a nightmare.
Yeah,
I've learned to pick up on it because of color
literally,
guard,
I was like convincing myself to leave. I was so close to leaving, and I had to like literally go.
I think I told you. I think I was texting you during, and I think I told you to, in the nicest, loving friend way, like, bitch, stay.
No, and so I was texting Robyn, and she's like, "No, don't leave. You got to finish this." Yeah. So literally,
I was nice. I was gentle and like kind.
It was, but it wasn't what I needed. And like I literally make myself finish the audition. This is so extreme, but like I needed something to like snap me out of the panic attack that I was swirling into. I literally had to go into the corner and like slap myself in the face so that I could finish the audition. And like I was like left the audition. I'm like, okay, I didn't get the part. I know that. I know I didn't get the part because I tanked the dance. But I'm like, but I stayed. And I was able to, there was more stuff we had to do after the dance call. And I was able to do that stuff really well. But I was like,
that's awesome. You stayed, like,
and I was like,
you did
that's
the
a
thing
win.
that made you uncomfortable and scary, and you stayed. And, I think also, like, we've talked about this too. You've had a hard time in this journey of auditioning because the first, like, 3 plays you did, you got parts.
I did, yeah.
So you had like this kind of reverse experience of like you were like consciously aware that rejection is a big part of this,
but I had like not experienced it. I got really, really lucky.
Yeah. And like, I think because you auditioned for that one, and then like the one theater company was kind of one of those, once you get a part, you're kind of in, and we'll keep you in here.
And I just kept getting parts with them.
Yeah. And I think we've had the talk a couple times where I've like helped kind of talk you off a ledge of just being like, girl, do you know how many bad auditions I've had? Do you know how many times like I've not got, like, I was like, there's like, you're not bad. This is part of the game. Just to kind of help you zoom out and just be like, And like, I've had terrible auditions. I even for South Pacific, actually, because I got a call back for, what the fuck is the lead's name? Who cares? Nelly. I got a call back for Nelly, and I was told the callback song was a different one, and I wasn't familiar with the soundtrack. And I'm also like a mezzo soprano alto range, and Nelly is a more soprano part. And I can like help like kind of exercise and like train my voice to get there if I need to. Yeah. But
you need that time.
I need a little bit of time on my own to find that higher placement because it's harder for me. And I was told a different song, so then suddenly they start in front of everybody too. Like, okay, like so-and-so, you're up to sing these 16 bars of whatever the fucking song it was. And I was like literally trying to learn it while I'm listening. And it was just so embarrassing. And I was like, that was bad, but that's okay. And then you just like make it through. And I remember texting my sister about it and telling her, and she was like, and I think that was like also kind of what I thought of when I was texting you about the dance thing, because she said to me like, I would have left. That's impressive. Like that you stayed. And I've had, you know, bad auditions where, you know, some of them I've tried to go in thinking of them more as practice, because auditioning is such a skill set of its own.
It's hard. And, auditioning is really, really hard.
And especially like for me, I have a really hard time with musical auditions, because I love to sing and I know I can sing, but something about the pressure of like doing your 16 bars in an audition room, like I shut down, I lose my proper placement and it sounds bad, and I just like, it's probably because I'm so tense and I just can't get it there, and it's like, and my mouth gets dry and then it's just not good. And
my thing,
I've had auditions where like the director never looks up at me.
Oh, I hate
like
that.
I auditioned
I fucking hate that.
I think it was, I forget what Playhouse it was, but it was years ago in like 2016, 2017. I love the musical The Last 5 Years. It's one of those roles where I'm just like, I definitely don't think I would get this part unless I decided to produce the show myself, because it's just not my audition strength. But I was like, I want to audition for this because how cool would it be if I got it? And also like, I want to get better at this.
Yeah.
And I, you know, worked on my song and I was all good. And the accompanist was very nice guy too, very sweet. And I even went to like a vocal coach like for a couple sessions to like help me figure it out. And the director literally like never looked at me.
I had that same experience when I auditioned.
So like, you don't have to like me, but just give me a little smile and say thank you. But he like didn't look at me, and he was just like, okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah. And I knew it wasn't great.
Gut-wrenching. When you hear those words, it sounds so polite, but it's so dismissive.
Also,
that's
like,
the most dismissive thing you can hear in an audition.
And Bo Burnham, after directing his film 8th Grade, he said every director should have to go on an audition at least every 6 months, so you can just be reminded of the courage you need to step into that audition room to do it. Because I think a lot of directors have been actors, and I think that's great, but a lot of directors haven't really done that or haven't done it for a long time. And so I think like in that case, like if I direct something someday, which I would love to do, I'm gonna have so much empathy for every single actor coming in, because it's just like, thank you so much for being brave enough to stand the fuck up there and do the damn thing. Like, I honestly, at that point, like, I don't care if they sucked. Like, I want to make them feel good for coming.
Yeah. And I've been lucky enough to go on a lot of auditions where the directors have had that. And I haven't gotten every single part that I've auditioned for. Like, I'm getting a lot more used to rejection now and just relaxing into the audition and just having fun with it. It was a journey to get there. But I remember I went on an audition for Rent, which is like a dream show. Would love to be in it. I did my song. The director was there, but they also had a musical director. And the director seemed like he really into like my voice and like the song. And he was like, oh, that was so good. And he turns to the musical director, who had not looked up once. And he's like, do you want to hear any more? And he's like, nope, that was good. And I was like,
thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go curl up and die.
That reminded me, and we'll wrap up. I have one last little story.
Yeah.
So, and I'm gonna keep this anonymous. So, but one of my friends back, was this high school or early college? I can't remember. But we both, you know, did theater in high school together, and she went to audition for a production of Rent, and she said like she went in, and I. This is also like my worst nightmare. So like I'm laughing because like we have to laugh at these things, but also like this is literally my worst nightmare. And she also, you know, was kind of an angular dancer similar to you in some ways. And
that can work with Rent. That can.
It can. I think a little harder with Mimi.
Yes, Mimi, not Mimi.
Yeah. But she was in the audition, and they were kind of doing a dance audition a little bit, and they told everybody to, which is also so mean, just like dance sexy. And she said she started.
What does that mean to you?
But then she said she started doing it, and they started laughing because they thought she was being funny.
Oh no, poor little thing.
And I was like, this is my worst nightmare.
I want to give her like the biggest hug.
I was like, that's what you don't want to happen when you're trying to be sexy. God. But I was also like, I get it, because like we didn't move in exactly the same way, but we both struggled with that type of sexy movement in a similar way. And she went for it, which is like, I am too afraid of that laughter to try and go for it.
Yeah.
But she like went for it.
I think I would have died inside.
I think I would have just
I want to give
combusted.
her like the biggest hug. Oh, that sucks. I had to like do that for Hunchback in Notre Dame. Like I was one of ensemble, and we basically had to do like a sexy little scarf dance.
I
And
remember this.
That choreographer was amazing. He made me feel like, because I went to him and I was like, I have a lot of anxiety around dancing. I am not comfortable. I want to do a good job. Like your choreography is so good. I want to do a good job. I just wanted to let you know, like I'm trying so hard.
Well, that's the nice thing to do as well. Like people just want to hear that. If you're just like, if you're struggling with the same exact thing, but you're just shutting down, people are gonna get frustrated because they don't understand what's happening and you're not communicating that. Like if you're just trying and putting an effort and expressing that to people and being honest and vulnerable about where your pain points are in a process, like good people genuinely just are fine with that and want to
he
help
was
you.
like, he helped me so much at the end of the show. I was like, thank you, because you, like, that show was a mess. But I was like, at the end of the day, you made me feel like a dancer.
That's
I've
nice.
never felt that way before.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
So
It's hard out here for sweaty bitches and angular dancers.
sweaty bitches, huge natties. What did I say?
Huge Nachies.
and auditioning.
And
What if somebody had all three of those problems?
we really ran the gamut of all the problems you can have.
But like, imagine being an overly sweaty bitch with huge natchies and awkward dancing. What do you do?
Get that laser. get that laser.
Get it in that ice cream scooper.
Get that laser in the ice cream scooper.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for this chit chat episode. Next week, we're talking about Forever by Judy Blume, the one and only.
Talk about sexy.
Teen sex.
I'm sorry, that was awkward as I was doing it.
I've totally been there. You start doing something and you're just midway through. You're just like,
I have to commit.
Yeah, I wish I didn't make this decision. Let us know if there's anything you're interested in us talking about during chit chats. Let us know what books we should discuss next. And
how do you feel about South Pacific? No, I'm just kidding.
do you know what it is? Do you find it as annoying as we do?
Oh God, that song "Honey Bun" was the worst.
I don't even remember the tune. Do not sing it.
I'm not going to. Because I was about to say, like, if I sing it right now, it's going to get stuck in my head for the rest of the day. I'm going to hate myself.
Yeah, no, I blocked it out for a reason. All right. Go dance sexy and make somebody laugh.
Yeah. Even if
fun.
it's just yourself.
Yeah. Bye.